He is absolutely pounding the table right now. That is Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve, one of the most powerful people in the entire world. He just did an interview basically breaking down how the labor market's screwed, the economy is screwed, and yet the stock market keeps going up.
It appears that inflation is continuing, is certainly is running above our target and appears to be continuing to increase quite gradually, but increase. It's still on the way up. So there's a risk there that would lend to greater persistence. But now the labor market has demonstrated pretty significant downside risks as payroll jobs have declined, and both the supply and demand for labor has declined quite sharply. So those two states of affairs for our two variables, our two goal variables, call for different monetary policy responses. So as they come more into balance, I think the idea has been that policy should move from being tight to some degree to being more neutral as those two things balance out. But it is clear though that if we move too quickly, then we may leave the inflation job unfinished and have to come back later and finish it. And if we move too slowly, there may be unnecessary losses, painful losses in the employment market. So we're in the difficult situation of balancing those two things. I think for the last few months, we've been able to maintain a restrictive stance because the labor market was still pretty solid. I think that the data we got right after the July meeting showed that, which adjusted back all the way through May, showed that the labor market has actually softened pretty considerably and puts us in a situation where the two risks are closer to being in balance.
So Jerome Powell honestly said a lot right there, and to be completely honest with you, it does sound pretty bad. And let's just take a look at this chart right here. So this just shows you job openings, rates by industry, seasonally adjusted. And from August of 2010, basically going into COVID, things looked pretty good. Then when COVID happened, new jobs went down a little bit because obviously there was less demand out there in the economy. But once we had this massive reopening and surge of people that had pent up demand, we had to go hire a bunch of people. You guys know that I live in Vegas and the whole strip was closed. A lot of people got fired, a lot of people got furloughed. So that's why the decline happened right here. But then once Vegas started booming back and, the whole world economy, for that example, we had to hire a bunch of new people. But now CEOs are realizing, hey, maybe I hired way too many people, and maybe this thing called AI is really becoming this real thing where, hey, we could be a lot more efficient within our business. So as people retire and get old and just quit or whatever they do to leave that job, those positions are now not getting backfilled. So maybe you needed 100 people to do a certain job, but now maybe you only need 50 people to do a certain job because AI makes it way more efficient. You could do the same amount of work with less people now because of AI, and that is real. So that's potentially why Jerome Powell's alluding to we have this, pretty big weakness in the labor market right now. But if we go back to that chart and let me zoom in here, basically the balance of people getting laid off versus people getting hiring is working right now, and that's depicted on this chart right here, but it is trending in the wrong direction. So this shows you the number of unemployed people per job opening. So basically if there's 10 jobs posted in the whole world, there's 10 unemployed people. Just a very simple example right there. So you could see coming off this bottom right here, there was basically 2 jobs for every 1 person that was unemployed. So when there's more jobs than what there's people actually unemployed to be, there's a lot of demand out there for labor. There's people that need to get hired, but there's just not enough people to fill these positions. I mean, we all remember, a few years ago where Starbucks baristas were getting paid like sign on bonuses and making like 25 bucks an hour or whatever it was because, low income labor was hard to find because people just didn't want to do it post COVID. But now that's coming more into balance and it's actually becoming a potentially dangerous balance where it's now at 1.0. So basically it's saying there's 10 jobs posted and there's 10 unemployed people. So yes, it's in perfect balance right now, but as AI starts to become more and more efficient, what is this going to look like right here? I'm in a camp that it's going to continue to trend up because people are going to get laid off, people are going to get fired, people are going to get furloughed, whatever it's going to be. And companies just aren't going to want to hire as many people back because AI is becoming so much more efficient. So again, this is a new thing. AI is brand new. We don't know exactly how this is really going to affect things. And I'm not going to be the one that sits here and says that this time is different. But what I am saying is that companies are going to be able to do more work with less people. And I do think that this is going to become a bigger problem as time goes on. And it definitely seems like Jerome Powell's noticing this and he's definitely worried about it. And that's why he's basically teeing up more interest rate cuts because we have to try to support this labor market. Because if the labor market takes a crap, the US economy is a consumer based economy. If people don't have jobs, they don't have money. And if they don't have money, they don't go buy things. And if they don't go buy things, what does that mean for the companies? They're going to have less revenue. Less revenue equals lower earnings per share. Lower earnings per share equals stock prices go down. I know I kind of just trickled through the whole thing right there, but that's literally how this plays out in a very simple way. And, stock prices went up so much in the last couple years, like even with the dip that we had this year for the tariff stuff, whatever, like the market is up so much and the market went up a lot more than what earnings actually went up. So it is a time to be very, very careful. And Jerome Powell knows this. He has said many times that the valuation level of the stock market is on the high side. And, at a time that the labor market's weakening, yeah, we might have some problems. So I do have to show you this chart right here, basically showing you like what it actually means to cut interest rates and what it really means for the stock market, because it's kind of counterintuitive. And I'm going to give you the reason why. Because in theory and on paper, yes, lowering interest rates, and I preach about this all day long in my course and on YouTube all the time, like lower interest rates usually is good for the stock market on paper. But in practice, it usually doesn't pan out like that. So let's just take a look here. If we go back to roughly 1998, you could see that the stock market fell roughly 51%. But you could also see that interest rates went from roughly 6%, we could call it down to 1%. That's a 5% interest rate cut. That should be very, very bullish for the stock market. But then why did the stock market fall 51%? And it's because the interest rate cuts come because something bad is happening. Interest rates went down because that was a dot com bubble burst. All these companies with the dot com behind a name, they all ran up like crazy in price. Maybe it's kind of like AI right now. Who knows? And I'll talk about that in a second. But the economy took a crap, the stock market took a crap, and the Fed lowered interest rates to try to make this stock market blow not really as bad as what it could have been. Like maybe if we kept interest rates at 6% or 7%, this might have been a 65 or even 70% stock market meltdown. And if you don't think that could happen, trust me, it could happen and it's happened before. But we're cutting interest rates here reactionary. We're not cutting interest rates to try to get in front of it. We're cutting because something bad already happened. And again, that kind of happened in 2008. We all know what happened there with the great financial crisis. People were buying homes that they can't afford. Companies were over leveraged. The stock prices went down. People weren't paying on their mortgages and things just went bad. You could see the stock market fell 58%. But again, interest rates went from 5% down to roughly 0%. Why did the stock market fall so much if interest rates went down roughly 5% again? It's because something bad happened and the Fed is reactionary and they're typically behind the curve. And then again, look right here. Like interest rates are going up from 2015 to current, and the stock market went up. It's totally counterintuitive, but it's because interest rates are going up because the economy was very, very strong. And like I've said 100 times on this channel, I would much rather have a strong economy with higher interest rates than a weak economy with lower interest rates, because you can only cut interest rates down to zero. And if you have a crap economy with interest rates at zero, you're not going to be in a good position right there. So now that the Fed is starting to cut interest rates, and I know that this chart's a little bit laggy, but it's very possible we're going to be in a situation like this where the stock market goes down. I don't know how much it's going to go down, but it's going down because something bad has happened and the Fed is cutting to try to make the bad thing less bad. And that's kind of like the camp that I'm in my portfolio right now. Like I'm been de-risking, but I am positioned to capitalize on upside and downside. But there is a few other things that we do have to hear from Jerome Powell to really build a little bit more of a thesis around this and what we expect the stock market to do. So let's dive into that, and then I'll show you inside my account just to show you what I have open right now, and then we'll be done.
It's clearly come down a great deal. And that's what's so challenging about this is that both supply and demand in the labor market have come down so sharply, so quickly. And the fact that the unemployment rate has barely moved is kind of remarkable in and of itself, and suggests that they're moving at roughly the same pace. Although, of course, the unemployment rate has ticked up, which suggests that demand is moving a little faster than supply. I wouldn't want to point to a specific number other than to say that it's come way down. And there are many, many estimates out there. By the way, there are many ways to calculate it, so you're going to get different estimates.
So, really, what Jay Powell is talking about here is the fact that there's not that many new job postings, but there's also not that many people getting laid off. So, that's why this number right here is still at 1.0, which is imbalance, kind of like we were talking about before. There's 10 jobs and there's 10 unemployed people. So, that balance works right now. But he is expecting this to get much worse, and he is expecting that there's going to be more people looking for a job than there are jobs available. And if we flip over here to the unemployment rate, yes, you could see going back to 2005, it's been very volatile. Obviously, when we have recessions and stock market crashes, it goes way up. This was 2008. This was obviously when COVID happened. But you could see that our unemployment rate in April of 2023 was roughly 3.4%. And it's on this steady uptrend going to 4.3% right now for August. And the problem with this is, again, there's not that many new jobs posted out there right now. And if we have any downside weakness in the economy and in the labor market where companies say, I'm going to start to lay people off, it's going to come in a massive wave and the unemployment rate is probably going to go up quite a bit. And it's kind of like the popular thing to do when you start to lay people off, because if the stock market takes a crap or the economy goes downhill, these companies now have a good excuse to say, hey, the economy is doing bad. There's not as many people buying our products. We simply don't need as many people. So when that happens, these companies will lay off. And because Meta lays off, Microsoft is going to lay off, and then Google's going to lay off, then Tesla's going to lay off. They all do it at the same time so that they kind of all just blend in with all the other layoffs. So you have to understand that when things go bad, if they ever do go bad, which eventually they will, it's going to come in a big spurt here and everybody's going to freak out and panic. And again, this is happening at a time that the stock market's a little bit hot. There is a lot of downside risk in the market right now. So let's dive into my account. We'll break down what's going on, what I have opened up, and how I plan to capitalize on the stock market in the next couple years. Because honestly, there's so much going on. Like, I'm loading up my account right now, but like, there's just so much going on right now. And, everybody's a genius in this bull market, and everybody's like, I'm buying calls on this company and then I did a 10x and whatever. Like, don't worry about that stuff. So let me get you set up here. So this is my Schwab account right now. It's one point, or sorry, right now it's $1.2 million dollars on the day. I'm down roughly 1900 bucks. And the stock market's just been on an absolute tear. I mean, I'm up 168% in 2 years. But let's dive into my main brokerage account to see what I got going on here, and we're going to break some stuff down. So you can see that I still have the typical base portfolio, triple Q, VOO, still have my Tesla shares, United Health I still have, which I do think is cheap. And honestly, this is a little bit counter cyclical, meaning if the stock market falls or the economy takes a crap, people are still going to need healthcare. So I don't think this is really a risky play to do right now. BLV is basically a pretty decent sized hedge right here, because if the economy takes a crap and interest rates go down for really any reason, the share price of BLV is going to go up because it tracks the price of bonds, not the yield of bonds. So as yields go down, the price of bonds go up, which means the price of BLV will probably go up too. I did do a small hedge today in this account. I bought some calls on SQQQ, some $15 calls that expire in March of next year. Up 1,000 bucks on that. I did this one today. But the thing about it is, like, I don't want to make money on these SQQQ calls, because if I do, that means I'm losing money on, the base portfolio up here. But again, it makes sense to do this right now at a time that the stock market just ran up a lot, valuations are stretched, and the economy is kind of taking a crap right now. It makes sense to do a little bit of hedging with SQQQ and BLV. I do have some sold puts on Meta and Amazon, and I did collect pretty good premium, almost, $35,000 between the two of these. And I'm going to be patient with these. I do think that they're going to be bumpy. I might be down a little bit of money in the short term, but I gave myself a lot of time. And then I took this premium and I bought shares of BLV. So again, like, I took the money and I'm doing something with it. So it does look pretty good. If I happen to get assigned on all this stuff, it's going to be just fine. My base portfolio is strong. It's going to be okay. I'm going to have the money to take assignment, and I'm not really worried about it. But right now, there is a lot of moves to be made in the Discord. Let me load that up for you just to show you what I have going on in there right now. So these are the main channels right here. Of course, I do my Brandon's updates all day long, talking about what's going on in the market and why. I talk about, I do audio updates every single day after the market closes, showing you exactly what's going on and just explaining that to you so that you get the whole rundown and it saves you a lot of time. Main trades account right here, you can see all the trades that I do. I do some risky trades right here also. Schwab open positions, I show that too. I obviously show the account value of my $1 million account every Friday after the market closes. But then we have this new Trading Ticks bot that has honestly been hitting pretty hard. And it sends out trades with like AI confidence of what is the percent chance it's going to make money on it. And honestly, it's been pretty dang good. We're doing very small allocations when we do this, like we're speculating with less than 5% of our accounts. But this does send out roughly 5 trades per day, and it's working right now. So it's kind of an interesting to do when the market's a little bit hot. There's less major trades that we can make as the main trades that I teach in my course. So that is something that we're doing. But if you want to get involved in that and come into Discord for free, all you have to do is scan this QR code right here, and you'll be able to get in and start for free. You could pause the video and you could go back and do it. But scan a QR code, and if it's not working, just click the link below in my bio. You get a free 3-day trial, and I will see you guys in the Discord and in the course later, guys.